ourselves. And then when you're in a situation like this, like someone else is seeing you without any of your control over it.
And without all your conditioning as well, like it's sort of, sometimes we make these masks for ourselves intentionally to hide aspects of our personality, but sometimes they're given to us
Yeah.
through society and culture or through our family or our experiences. And so having a numerology reading or an astrology reading, it shows you without those layers and without that conditioning. And essentially that is the form of you that we want to get back to and that we want to live in alignment with. So I think it's a really beautiful tool to be able to see that true version of yourself.
Just most people aren't being seen by everyone listening. So maybe that's
No.
why I'm feeling a little nervous
Maybe.
because like this is public.
I know, and this is unusual. So I never really, this is the first time I've ever done a recorded session. So I promise I'm not going to go into anything too deep and dark, but I'm excited to give you a bit of an insight into your chart, but also
Yeah.
your listeners a bit of an insight into what it's like to get a numerology reading.
Yes.
Because conceptually might just seem like a totally weird and wacky thing, and I think actually listening to what it can be like will be a little bit demystifying and hopefully remove some of those nerves.
Yeah, we love that because like the people from the Light Path community that have seen you, as many of you will know, Liz joined us this year as our expert numerologist here at the Light Path. Because I really value numerology and I've been looking for someone for years, and we've done an episode together. So go back where you guys met Liz and welcomed her into our community. But the people that have had readings with you are like loving it and those insights. So I'm jumping on board.
Let's do it. Let's jump in. All right. So, with a numerology reading, there's sort of two main kind of parts to numerology. There is your core chart, and they're numbers that don't change, and they are with you for life. Then there is the predictive side of numerology,
Ooh,
and that's sort of more looking at like the cycles and the seasons of your life. And that's where we can use numerology to be a bit more intentional around our timings and around our decision makings
yeah.
and sort of have a bit more of like a weather report essentially for your life.
Okay.
So I always start
Is
though.
the weather stormy?
Look, we're gonna wait
Listen
for a
to me.
little
I'm
bit for
like,
the weather.
just give me the bad news first. No, no.
And aren't we all like that? We are so
Yeah.
like negativity bias. We
No.
we focus on those darker, shadowy sort of sides
Mm.
of your personality. So with numerology and with numbers, there is no good numbers or bad numbers. Every number has a whole range of different things that encompass and embody the essence of that number. And some of those are good things, and some of those are a little bit more shadowy and a little bit more murky. But in order to embody a particular number, you have the whole gamut of that. And so we need to understand the shadows in order to be able to work with them and to bring those into the more light parts of our life. So,
Okay, I trust you. I trust you. I'm in your
o-
hands. I'm in your hands.
okay, all right, she's in. So we are going to start by talking about the most important number in your chart, and that is your heart number, or sometimes
Oh,
called your life path number.
okay.
And this number is derived from your date of birth, and it is essentially the most significant core essence of your chart.
Okay.
And for you, that number is a five. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, of course, Kirsten is a five. A five is a very sort of a light, um, very communicative, very fun, very passionate, someone that likes to be around people. They are not solo existers. They want to find community. They want to be around other people and communicating, collaborating. They're people that like to taste life, to enjoy life with all five senses, to jump in and try something, not to just read about an experience or read about a country, perhaps. You want to go there and you want to immerse yourself in it and taste the food and meet the people and really live in that kind of energy and that experience.
You know what's
The
really, really funny? I actually had a conversation. I'm about to travel, and I was saying, we were talking about what we're doing and the itinerary, and he joked, "Oh, I've read about that. I don't need to go there now. And I was like, my
Oh, that is not you, babe.
oh my, I know it, I literally got angry and it started this big fight. But anyway, because I was like, what's no, like, no, no, that's not good enough. We're
That's
going, like, we're going to see it.
exactly. But I'm going to assume that this that your travel partner is not a five at their core, because that sounds very different to the experience of the five.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Let's find out what he is. Let's see that I'm better than him. That's really the crux of it.
Now, I think if you remember, I said just before, there are no good numbers and no bad numbers. But it is really interesting when we start to compare our numbers with those of other
Yeah.
people's, because then we see that there is an inherent difference. He's a three, yes, so quite different, but still very harmonious. And maybe that's
Okay.
something for a
Well,
future episode we
I'll
could
try
look
and
at
remember that.
maybe.
Yeah, a couple, yeah, I'll try and remember that. This is harmonious. This is harmonious. He will always find the way back to harmony before I will. I'm like, fight to the death.
And but that is a five as well though. They're passionate, they're
Mm.
fiery, you know, they want to stand up and be seen and to make noise and to really enjoy things and that can be exhausting for some people. It can be really fun as well. And so it's about sort of finding that balance.
Yeah.
The core sort of your life path number, it tells me a lot about your like your emotional expression and the way that you relate to people, but
Okay.
it also gives me information about your life purpose and what you're kind of here to do. And for a five, it's all around the constructive use of freedom. So,
Okay.
freedom is a really core essence of the five. It's about not being constrained, but also not being so free that you are not being able to be committed or dedicated or responsible. One of the more shadowy elements of the five is that difficulty to lock in and to follow through with things. They fives tend to be a bright flame, like burn bright but burn out quickly. And so commitment and dedication and being able to sort of commit yourself to the more serious aspects of life can sometimes be really challenging for a five. They often, I think of a five as like the archetype of a teenager, like really they're so in a good way, I
I really
promise.
hope my mum's not listening.
I'm sure she would be agreeing with some of this,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah.
But it's the teenager. They want to experience life and they don't want to do the boring things and follow the rules. They're out there to get all of the experiences possible while they're making that sort of personality formation. So yeah, so that's very much the essence of the five. They
That really
do
aligns also with my rising sign, which is Sagittarius.
interesting. Yes. So there is quite a significant yeah, I think the Sagittarius does relate really
Mm.
well to the five. It's
Mm.
a, yeah, there is, it's interesting. There is quite a lot of correlation between astrology and numerology. And like you can, oh, there's so many deep dives you can go down into sort of how they all mix together. It's amazing. But let's get back to you.
Okay.
Let's get back to
Okay.
talking about you and your
Okay.
beautiful soul essence of this lovely five. Now, it sometimes fives they struggle with routine and commitment and consistency, as I was saying. So when I meet people in a numerology reading, I always like to sort of work out what you're coming to me today for. What do you want to know? Are we talking about career? Are we talking about love? Are we talking about I'm just lost and I'm not sure what I need and where I'm going? There are so many different parts of your chart that we can look into. And so getting a bit of an understanding of what's coming up for you and where you're wanting to look into can be really helpful to guide the conversation because otherwise could just talk incessantly at you about all of the different numbers. So your heart number, your life path number is always going to be part of a numerology reading because it is the most important number and how that relates to the other numbers in your chart is going to be really important in sort of crafting that story of you in a reading. You
Okay.
can get a chat GPT, numerology reading that will just look at individual numbers sort of separately. But
Mm.
the magic of a reading is looking at how the numbers relate to each other,
Okay.
what the harmony or the disharmony is. If there's friction or tension between certain numbers, then that can potentially show that there'll be more challenges in those different areas of your life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me
So
to pick an area of my life, or do you want to pick?
sure, yeah. I mean, is there anything that's particularly of interest or burning for you at the moment?
Let's go. Hmm. Let's go career,
Hmm.
but like, because I think that's shifting.
Interesting.
But also like partnership, whether that be romantic, whether that like wherever that fits in, but also like partnership in terms of working with people who, why.
I love that you brought those both of these things up because there's some really interesting patterns in your chart that relate to both of those things. So partnership and collaboration, it does come up for you, and particularly in this current age and time of your life, it's becoming more and more significant.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't such a primary driving force previously, but in pretty much from your 40s onwards, that two, their collaboration number, the two is starting to really take sort of center stage and to really come into a prominence in your life. So it's very interesting that that's the thing that sort of jumps to mind for you at the moment. So, like I was saying, the your heart number is the only number that I really ever read in isolation, and everything else we now read in collaboration and to look at the harmony between that number and the other aspects of your chart.
Okay.
So when I'm looking at your career, I'm looking at your hands number and your head number. And that tells me what your aspirations, your ideals, your way of thinking and your way of seeing things, but then also looking at your skills and your talents and your abilities and how you can actually manifest and use that the thinking and the head number, how you can actually use that in a practical and real sense.
Okay.
So that's how I would start to look at what your career as sort of area and skills and strengths are.
Okay.
Now, you actually have some very harmonious numbers in this space. So that is a good thing. So it tells me that your abilities to do the things that you want to do probably come relatively easy to you. Now, not necessarily, it doesn't mean that everything you want to do will absolutely pan out.
Yeah.
But for people that have disharmonious combinations in those particular areas of their chart, it tells me that career might be a bit more of a sticking point or a bit more of a challenge, and finding the right vocation is going to be a little bit more complex and difficult.
Okay.
So for you, you've got in your hands number a seven, and a
Okay.
seven is one of the most complex and deep numbers. It is also the most spiritual number as well. So the fact that you are using your hands number to do spiritual work, it makes so much sense to me. It shows me that you've got that intuitive ability to be able to analyze things, to understand things, to get to the deeper meaning of things. The seven is really the seven is an investigator. They want to get to the absolute root of the information. They're not happy just having a surface level understanding of things. There is just such a desire to learn and to know and to seek wisdom. Wisdom is such a core tenet for people that have sevens in their chart. It also tells me that you were probably someone that studied further. Did you study after school?
Yeah, I've got an undergrad and two postgrad degrees. I've got two master's degrees. Yeah.
Amazing. Yes. So that seven's a number of learning and number of wisdom. And so people that have sevens in their chart will always be motivated to learn, and they're lifelong learners, and not even necessarily like obviously you've gone through formal education as well,
Yeah.
but but just you're probably someone that is always finding a new and interesting thing that you're
Yeah.
wanting to look into and research. And that kind of, goes back to that five that we were talking about before. That scattered, that very excited energy and interested in lots of different things. Combining that with the seven, it can be challenging to really know what to settle and to focus your energy on.
Mm.
And when I see a five and a seven, there's often a five and seven combination. It shows that there's unpredictability or uncertainty, and a lack of sort of clear focus and direction, potentially with some career choices.
Yeah,
Has
that's
that
what
kind
I'm
of,
yeah, because that's what I'm finding now in the business. Like, so even in my past career, it was always kind of like in the current step, but always knowing what the next step would be. So like
yes,
always working towards the next step, being really in the current, but then working towards the next step. Now in the business, I guess I have the same approach, but because it's so open and there is so much freedom, like I can do what I want because
yeah,
I do research, I do learn. And if it feels aligned with me and it comes naturally, like I follow it. There's a lot in this field that comes naturally. I don't hope that doesn't sound conceited, but
not at all,
like
no,
choosing what is going to be the best thing for me to actually pour my energy into and to put out into the world. Right
absolutely.
now, I'm unsure. Like, as much as I love doing readings, and it's interesting how you were talking before because I'm like, oh, that's how my readings go. Like, I'm not a reader that's going to sit here and fluff your future for you. Like, I don't care about your future. I care about what's blocking you from your future. And let's get down to that. Let's get nitty gritty into that
Yeah,
so we can understand ourselves potentially then to move into the future. Like the future, you can have whatever that you want, I guess. You just got to make it happen, right?
exactly.
So I'm not into predictive reading as much as I'm into, okay, here's what's available. Like, but like it's not now because what are we doing now?
Exactly.
So that's so aligned. And yeah, so now I'm just a bit like, what's going to work best for me? What best way can I be of service to others? And how is it going to be the most workable for me so I don't burn out? So I'm pouring my energy into what is really needed or wanted or all of those things. So they're the big questions swirling.
Absolutely. And I think it sounds like even just from your lines of questioning that you are quite a self-aware person, and this has all come from a lot of self-study and a lot of
Mm,
work. And so
mm,
often when I'm meeting people in readings, they're right at the start of that journey. They haven't done all of that work to understand and to recognize their own patterns, and look at what they're working with, and understand what is attainable and what is achievable. And so I can see that you've gotten and done a lot of that work already, and now, and it's probably not been a overnight easy process, I
no.
can assume, but you are sort of, yeah, you're working within the means that you have, and I think that's really powerful position to be in.
Okay, just tell me what to do then. Which
Okay,
path should
cool.
I
So
choose?
step one.
I'll give you the options that I'm thinking, and then you just tell me which one to do, and I'll do that. No, just kidding. That's kind of where I'm at because I'm never usually like a direction.
And that could be really scary. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna jump quickly now to talk
Mm.
about your head number, because it's
Yeah.
interesting that you're saying that I've never normally lack of direction, because your head number is a very, very logical, very reasonable, a very practical four.
Okay.
So a four is it's a very mature number. It's one that basically is like the dependable, reliable kind of person, that organized, planned, careful, serious, mature, practical, someone that, can be relied upon. That you're often probably the first one to pick up the phone when a friend's having a crisis, or, there is an inherent dependability that is also applied to the work world as well. So you're probably someone that likes to, nose your way around a spreadsheet, can be a little bit organized and structured, and have that ability to create stability and like procedure and routine and order.
Well, I guess yeah, I guess you have the background or the behind the closed door of that being part of the light path that I've set up. So I guess you can, yeah, you've experienced that maybe from the other end.
Exactly, exactly. And the seven and the four, they're quite a harmonious combination together. So it tells me that to merge these two energies, you've got this like deep learning spiritual ability, but then this head number that can then organize that, it can structure that. You've created this collective of women. You've been able to, bring people together and to actually make something material in the real world, which is something that is really critical in the four as well. So you might not be feeling that you have that direction, but from my sort of looking at it, you are kind of you're really already working in that world. You've managed to bring those two aspects of your personality into a really impressive alignment. So that in and of itself is exciting. But I think if we're going to talk timing and what to do, and if you're feeling like there's big kind of questions and decisions to be made about your direction, then I think this might be a time that we jump into that predictive numerology
Yeah.
side of your chart. So rather
Yeah.
than we've looked at, what your skills are, what your talents are, you're already kind of living in that.
Yeah.
When now is your time to make a big decision or to change or to jump into something new? So
Don't say tomorrow. I'm too busy today.
look, as I said at the start, this is like a weather report. So a numerology reading is I'm never going to say on the 16th of June this is going to
You're
happen.
gonna meet you're the love of your life. Like, oh my gosh, I dislike.
I I cannot handle
Mm.
that kind of
Yeah.
like pop culture,
Mm.
metaphysical stuff. I find it really trivializes some of the
Yes.
magic of this actual genuine science that is so ancient and so beautiful. And then I see those things on social media where it's like, if you like this and you'll meet the love of your life, or
Yeah.
I find that very
Yeah. Not
frustrating.
our vibe. Not our vibe.
No, not our vibe at all. So I probably need to find a better term than predictive numerology element of the chart, because predictive, I guess, does
Maybe it's like
make it.
potential, like the potential numerology. So potential,
Yeah.
what's like unfolding, or here's what's available. I don't know. Just thinking out loud.
I guess I think I probably call it predictive because it looks at the
There's a
course of your
time frame.
life
Yeah.
and the different cycles that are occurring. So there are constant shifts and cycles happening, and it's the same astrologically as well.
Yeah.
We're moving through these different periods, and we do, repeat different things and learn different lessons and different challenges that come throughout those different cycles. So with numerology, you have four kind of distinct periods of your life, or four sort of major phases, if you will, or seasons. I don't know, let's call them seasons. So you're currently in your third one. So you're in that sort of second stage of maturation.
Okay.
Now, in a reading, and one probably if I wasn't recording, because I don't want to go too much in depth, but I
Thanks.
think it's
Thanks.
always very important to look at the person's first formation cycle. So the season that you were born into, what that kind of energetic environment was like, because that can really give you a good indication of early childhood, which, as we know, has a massive impact on the person that we develop into.
Yeah.
And I can see there's a fair bit of tension in your early cycle and pinnacle, and again, it's something that I don't want to get into while we're
Yeah.
recording, and I'd love to chat to you more about it, but you do have a lot of challenging energy, particularly around the father figure.
Oh.
Um, and yeah, and just sort of and that can sometimes be, yes, I have a difficult relationship with my male or my father figure, or that there's some kind of karmic something in there. And so that definitely comes up in a few parts of your chart. But let us get back to career. Let us not go too deep
Yeah.
into the chart.
For the record, I've had an amazing relationship with my dad.
Oh, I love that. That is good. But yeah, so that's again like an example of what we can look
Yeah, like obviously in the
into.
back of my mind, I'm like, I know what you're referring to.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. So you're, as I said, so you're in your third sort of season at the moment,
Mhm.
and that season for you is between the ages of 40 and 49. So you're
Okay.
kind of
So at
you're
the
kind
tail
of
end of that. Yeah.
you're in the tail end, but this particular part of your life is governed by two numbers, and for you it's an 8 and a 22-4.
Okay.
Now, this is different to just a regular 4. It's a special 4. This for me is something that's really like glaring in your chart at the moment, and something that as soon as you said career, I was like, brilliant. I'm glad you want to talk career. Yes, so when I see a 22 in anywhere in someone's chart, that's just a little indication that that's something significant. And when I
Mhm.
see it in a cycle or a pinnacle, that to me tells me that this is the time of your life where career is most in focus.
Okay. Yep.
A 22 is a master number. It has all of those properties of the 4, like we were talking about before, very dedicated, very dependable, very reliable, very capable providers. But the 22 gives it this extra sort of um, amplification. You're kind of operating at a much higher level with a much, much higher potential for significant growth and gain in a material sense. So the 4 is
But which
it's a
direction? Which direction?
that
Which
unfortunately is
thing?
a
Which
question
thing?
for you to ponder. But this is your time for building your business. This is
Yeah.
your time
Well,
for putting the energy and the effort into making it something, because you have that energy of the 22 backing you up, and it is the archetype of the 22 is the master builder.
okay.
So this is your time to be building and to be changing and to be absolutely investing into that facet of your life.
Okay. Tick.
Now, excellent. And that also, as I said, it's matched with the 8 as well. So the 8 and the 4 are those cosmic parents that you've got for this period of your life between 40 and 49. And they're very harmonious. They're both working together, and they're both focusing on material achievement, and particularly in that sort of career sense.
Okay.
So I feel like you are aligned and you are working on what you want. You're just that 5 is it's giving you too much scattered focus and inability to sort of settle down and to stop and to really connect into what it is that you're wanting to do.
But do you know what I've just heard? I've just heard the exact thing I needed to hear because I'm focusing on the what is going to be sustainable for me, but
Hmm.
also be sustained by me. That doesn't
Yes,
make sense. Does that make sense? You get what I
I know
mean?
exactly. I
Yeah.
know what you mean.
And the thing that I think will do it, I'm scared that it won't. But what I've heard is you have got all the energy on your side for
You
it to
do.
be. So stop thinking that it won't work and really keep backing yourself
100%.
and go for it. That's what I've just heard.
And that is exactly what the message of this is. Like for to see those elements that relate to career all being so beautifully sort of funneled through the power of that 22-4 in this current phase of your life. You're already there. You're already doing it.
Mm,
It's your own anticipatory fear about
mm.
the sustainability of it that's getting in your way at the moment is what I'm feeling and what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So I've got 2 years. Come on, girl. What happens when I'm
You've
50? Does it all fall apart?
absolute chaos. I want to start on your 50s.
No.
No, not at all. So, but that's not a bad way to think about it, though, in that
Yeah.
you do only have a couple more years under this energy.
Mm.
You will shift at 49. You'll move into a totally new energetic environment. And just as an FYI, it's a good
Yeah.
one as well,
Okay,
but
good.
it's not as career. potent.
Mhm.
It is not as it's not universally your direction might be different when you change that phase, when you move into that phase, sorry. So if career and if business is something that you're wanting to do, and I know that it is, and I know you're so passionate about it, then this is very much your time to be putting all your time and focus and attention on it.
Because I've been avoiding it because of the confusion, but now is the time. Just don't worry about the confusion. Just go for it. As we know, the way appears. Keep
Absolutely.
going. Doesn't work, doesn't work. Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
And so within this cycle and pinnacle that you're under at the moment, this period between 40 and 49, you will go through 1 through 9 of each of the personal years
Yeah.
in this sort of cycle before you then move into the next phase. And that I think is, and I think we need to do a totally different episode on just focusing on personal years, because I think it
Mm.
is one of the most potent and powerful ways of using numerology in like a really practical sense. Like,
Mm.
and because they're changing, so you can actually really track them and measure them
Yeah.
and reflect back on the past sort of cycles that you've had and really be like, oh my gosh, yes, that was such a 9 year, or that was such a 4 year. um, so for you, you're kind of right, you're getting towards the tail end of the 9 year cycles. You're in a personal year 6 at
Yeah.
the moment. And a 6 is, it's not an energy you have a lot of in your chart. But I think it's one that I think you'll be happy to hear it. It's one that invites love and harmony into our lives.
Oh,
It
don't,
does.
don't tell
So
someone else that because they copped it the other night when I was really angry. So there was no harmony in this house.
yeah, just a little less harmony, but well, hopefully, maybe he's a 3, so he recognizes your 6 year energy absolutely.
And he's like, get
Um,
over it.
he's done with this. It's interesting though you say that, because a 6, like in its in its positive, in its light side, it's all about love and harmony, and it's
Mm.
about giving. They are such givers. They are very like maternal, parental kind of energy. But in a shadowy sense, a 6 has anger issues. And
Mm.
so in a 6 personal year, you might be faced with anger and challenges around anger,
Yeah.
because the 6s are such givers. They tend to repress and not express, and that can be really really challenging, because the more you're repressing and repressing, that anger is building and building, and that can come out in a 6 year.
It's and to be honest, like it was circumstantial, but that's exactly what happened the other night. I've been
Mm,
behind the scenes giving, giving, giving without this person asking, without this person even knowing. And then when I shared what I'd been doing, obviously they were appreciative, but then like not enough to like change their approach with me. So I lost it. I lost
hmm.
my
Which is scary, because you're probably not
no,
a naturally
no.
angry
And I
person. Like
hate
I
fighting. I'm just not, I just don't do it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can really catch you by surprise.
Mm.
Another thing that can come up in a 6 year is being forced to face the past. So if there's been things that you've been running from, or things you've been avoiding or not thinking about, it's a really good time to actually turn and face that head on and get some things sorted. So no more running.
Okay.
But then when you're moving into your 7 personal year, and when I say personal year, I probably should have been more clear at the start. I'm not talking about the year of the calendar year of
Yeah, that's I was
2025
literally about to ask, when does it shift?
on your
When do I stop
birthday.
being such an
Why am I
angry
so
cat?
angry? So it shifts on your birthday.
Okay.
So
Couple of
you're
months. We're good. We're good.
you've got time. So you are reaching the tail end of that 6 year, and that 7 will absolutely sort of start to come to prominence in the next couple of months. And for people who are sort of a bit more intuitive, can sometimes sort of really genuinely start to feel that shift and start to see the circumstances of life changing and moving. Um, and a 7 year, it is one that's a little bit slower. A 7 year is one for introspection. It's one for study and research. It's one for really not closing yourself off from the world, but being very selective with your energy and not being a yes person, being very boundaried and being very
Yeah.
guarded and protective of your energy, because you will need it. You will need that quiet stillness next year before you move into the eight. And the eight for you in particular, this 8 year in this cycle of your life, this is where your material gain is going to happen.
So I have to wait till I'm 49 before I can buy a house. Is this what we're saying?
Look, I'm
Not
not
far off.
saying that it's not that far off. You can do
No.
it. You squirrel some monies away. But an 8 year is always the most powerful year for business, for material growth and wealth and sort of building in that context. But because you're already in this energy of the
Mm.
eight and the 22-4, I feel like your 8 year, this one is going to be particularly potent and particularly powerful. And that I think is where you should be pushing your mental energy essentially. This year might not be the year that your business explodes and everything
Yeah.
falls into line, because it's not meant to be yet. You need to have next year of introspection and deep thought processes around it before that success is going to come in the following year.
Intuitively, I think I've always known and been very, not suspicious, but being very wary of like overnight successes. Like it
Totally.
just doesn't impress me.
No.
So
Nah.
someone that blows up or goes viral overnight, or the business goes from 0 to 100, it's never like, part of me obviously wants that because it looks easy, but
Sure.
I know that for me it just doesn't impress me. And that goes with business, that goes with like everything in life. And I
And I
think that
think
that's
that
one of the
doing
biggest teaching points, sorry, that I have is like, you have to just trust the timing. And if I said to you it's going to take 5 years, like you're saying potentially it's going to take a couple more years for this really to be what you've always known it will be
Mhm.
in life, me in life, right? And it's like, that's fine. But most people say to me, oh, 2 more years. Oh, but I'm like, I'm so respectful of time.
Totally, absolutely. And we couldn't do the work that we do with authenticity if we didn't have that respect for it. And I know, and I'm so guilty of wanting the answers now, and I want it all to happen immediately, if not
Mm.
sooner. But we know that that's just not how things happen, and the work that we do proves that to us time and time
Yeah.
again. We are just constantly being reminded of these cosmic, shifts and cycles and patterns and timings. We need to be kinder to ourselves and to remember that it's okay not to have all the answers immediately, even if we want them,
Yeah.
because that doesn't mean that they're not going to be there at some point. We just need to give time to allow things to develop how they're meant to. And I think that
Yeah. And,
was
and
that
keep plowing the fields, keep sowing the seeds, because
exactly.
like the best, like the oak tree didn't just grow overnight, but the time it took to grow makes it strong, makes it powerful, makes it long lasting. And it's interesting, as you're speaking, I'm thinking, oh yeah, so I've got this like teenage energy around me, and I definitely do, and especially in relation to money. Like I'm just not that
Mm,
interested in money. I'm not, it doesn't like, if someone starts talking to me about investments and superannuation, it's just so
same.
boring to
My
me.
already
Ugh.
glazing.
Right. So like I'm just not that interested in money. I'm interested in the pleasure it can give me, but that's about it, right? And so it's very
Yep.
teenage like. And I remember when I was a teenager, one of the big popular songs was that sunscreen song. And it's like all this advice that you won't understand
Mm-hmm.
until you're older. And I think I
Mm-hmm.
need to take longer. So if let's just say an abundance of money comes in, I will therefore have I'll be much more mature to be like, this is how I'm gonna use it. This is how I'm gonna invest it in my way, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. And you can't tell a teenager that. They
Yeah.
are you have to go through those experiences and you have to live them before you have that knowing and that wisdom. And unfortunately, we are in in a culture at the moment where there is this kind of grind mentality of like, get win, go big quickly and
Yeah.
yeah, like go viral overnight and be this huge success and, be the master of your own destiny and whatnot. Like it's empowering sometimes, but it's also pretty exhausting as well.
Mm.
Like I think given enough, um, we're not empowered to give time and space to the
Yeah.
process where we're encouraged to do it now or do it immediately. And it's not sustainable.
No, and it's not because when I first went full time into the business, I did not go viral by any stretch of the imagination, but it went zhung really quickly. I burnt out and it's been zhung ever since. And
Hmm.
now this is why I'm like, I need to do this abundantly but sustainably for me,
Exactly.
for who I'm serving and all of that. And I always say to myself, the last mile is never crowded. Don't
Love
don't
that.
don't watch these people that are like in this apply this to any area of your life if you're listening to this, like if you're watching all your friends getting engaged right now and like you can't even get a second date, if you're watching all your
Hmm.
friends buy a house and you can't pay the rent, if you're watching your friends start businesses and you have no idea what you even want to do or whatever, like just relax and just
Yeah.
know that when you know you'll know, and that just keep plugging away at self because the last mile is never crowded.
Yeah, I've never heard that phrase before, but I
Mm.
love that. And yeah, I think that that's beautiful advice for everyone. We just need to keep trucking along and it's funny how like full circle you've come just in the course of our
Yeah.
reading
Yeah.
because you were just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to read right now. Blah, 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 blah. And that sometimes is what a reading can give you.
Yeah.
It's not actually giving you the answers, it's giving you the permission. Like it's giving
Mm.
you permission to just stop a little bit and to know that things will happen when they're ready to happen, but you don't need to force that just because you're being told that you should.
And I'm so glad that like I know this in advance. So like I know that like use the next couple of months to like formulate the idea, focus on the business, and next year just plow away at it. Just
Hmm.
just take your time in creating it, do what you need to do, and see what happens in that 8 year. So knowing that is so empowering, like you said, permission giving. So
Hmm.
that's what you're going to get from this experience, you know?
Exactly, exactly. So I hope that wasn't as terrifying as you were
No, not at all. Not
expecting.
at all. I've got some personal questions, but I'm not going to ask them.
Yes, we can save that for off pod.
You could say that.
I did just want one final tiny
Okay.
little piece of
Go, go.
information, just because you did mention collaboration
Mm.
at the start, and I wanted to quickly talk about what we call your tension number.
Okay.
And a tension number is one that everyone has one, and it's just an area that might be a bit harder for you to access or harder for you to sort of thrive in. And for you, your tension number is a two.
Hmm.
And a two is around relationships, like one-on-one relationships, and reciprocity and collaboration, and sort of being able to be in a partnership and to have that reciprocity that's completely equal. That might have been something that probably maybe didn't come so naturally to you, but the beauty of the tension number is that in your 40s those things start to really come into fruition. And so it makes a lot of sense that, in this era that you're in now from 40 to 49, all of this sort of work and focus, but your two is sort of coming up in that it's like wanting you to collaborate. Like,
Mm.
yes, you should be pushing forward with working and being sort of successful, but bringing people along in that is really beautiful and is what you need, I think, essentially.
Yeah, it is like it is. And that was really clear to me from the beginning, but it is the most confronting part. And like human design taught me a lot about that as well as terms of being a projector. Like,
Yes.
so like, yeah, like it has been difficult in the past, but like it's so easy now. Like I'm finding it a lot more easy now, I would say. Not so
Yeah.
easy, but
And yeah, and I think that's I love that with numerology. Sometimes if people look at their chart and don't like it, that that's frustrating, because obviously you can't change it. But it is wonderful that there are these little numbers and these interesting things that will change slowly throughout your life,
Yeah.
and that's exciting to know as well that there's always potential for growth and change, and it's exciting that as you move through these cycles, you are just, if you're open to it, you will be able to get so much more in, yeah, if you are open to that potential and that abundance.
Well, if you're listening to this, then very much assume that you are. So get your own numerology reading. Obviously, links below, direct straight to Liz. You can book with her, see her anywhere in the world, and
Absolutely.
see what your numbers are mapping out and guiding you with. Liz, as always, thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Kirsten.